Just firstly, you do have a new album out with our band you're playing with at the moment, The Devil You Know, with Howard from Kill Switch Engage. The new album's called They Bleed Red. How did it go recording it, and what can people expect from the album? I've heard just the music video at the moment, and it's brutal as great stuff. Really dig it.
Yeah, it's definitely I would say a heavier record overall as opposed to the first one. The first song that's out right now, Stay of Executions, it's definitely one of the more brutal tracks. I guess being in a band with someone like Howard, we have the luxury of being fairly diverse, having someone who can cover a lot of different sounds and styles vocally.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just when it came time to start writing some new music, we didn't really think about it all too much. We just started writing a bunch of songs, and it was a fairly easy process to record. Once we got in the studio as well, we didn't really go in there overthinking it all too much. But I think a big difference is on the first record, because we were a brand new band and we'd never even played a live show.
Yeah.
We played it fairly safe on that record. We didn't really want to stray too far into, have it too heavy or too light or anything like that.
Yeah.
But with this record, we were, I guess, just more confident, and we've played so many shows in all different countries and all that now. So, the band has felt more cohesive and together as a unit. So yeah, we just went in there and we just knocked it out, man. We really didn't worry about what people would think or what the record label was going to think or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think it worked. It sounds a bit more organic and just natural as to what this band is now.
Yeah, you don't see many Aussies that are living over in America representing metal. You started over there with Devolved, but how did you end up moving over to America? Who came up with that decision?
Many years ago now, Devolved, we toured with Fear Factory here in Australia, and I got to know Dino quite well, and at the end of the tour, he got in touch with me, and he was like, I want to do a different band. I want to fly you over to America, and I want you to play drums for it. And I was like, all right, man. Yeah, I'd never been to America at that point. So I pretty much packed my bag, and, I didn't really, at that time, I didn't realise that I'd end up living there, for years and years and years. But, once I got over there and kind of got involved in the music scene there and got to know people, I mean, that was it for me. That was the place to be if I wanted to do this as a career and do it full time. So yeah, that was it. Yeah, I lived with Dino for a good year or so when I first went there, and then got my own apartment from there, and I've been there pretty much ever since.
Was he a good roommate?
he was actually. Yeah. We had some pretty interesting times. But he's a great dude, man. I mean, I love Dino. He's, I've always looked up to him and the way that he approaches music, both from a music point of view and also like a business point of view as well. He's a pretty smart, switched-on dude. He's taught me a lot about the industry. We actually just toured with Fear Factory in the US. We just finished that tour a couple of weeks ago. So, got to hang out and spend time and catch up. So it's always good to see him.
That'd be cool. I've always thought Australia's had a pretty underrated metal scene. I know there's been some pretty legendary acts throughout the years, Mortal Sin, Alchemist, and now we're finally starting to get a bit of attention with these bands like Mia Blivicaris and Parkway Drive. I'm just wondering what you think of the scene at the moment. Do you think it's, finally getting a bit of international recognition?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the recognition is long overdue. I mean, there's there's always been great bands from here. I mean, even, back in the day when we were touring all the time with Devolved here, we would play with bands like Alchemist and, Damaged, Bloodduster, all these fucking great bands I could go on all day naming, once I went overseas, I definitely kind of lost touch with the scene here, and it seemed like very, very few bands got the opportunity to go overseas, and people overseas just really weren't familiar with what was happening here. But now, like the bands you named, obviously bands like Psychroptic. There's finally, I think the internet has a lot to do with that as well, but, finally we're starting to see some of those bands touring quite often over there, and, I love it, because I'm mates with all those guys and keep in touch with them, so a lot of the time, if they're coming through LA, or if we're touring and cross paths, somewhere, we hang out and catch up, and that's always cool. So, to answer your question, I mean, the Australian metal scene is extremely underrated, man. It's just because this country is so far away from the rest of the world. Unfortunately, that's the downside, but the music that comes out of here is world-class, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You did play Soundwave Festival, the tour last year. How did that go? There's some pretty big names on the bill.
Oh, it was awesome, man. Yeah, that was great. That was the very first tour that we did with Devil, I mean, we literally hadn't played at all. So they were kind of our first shows that we did as a band. Yeah. So, it was awesome, obviously, but it was also, it was a little strange because no one knew who the band was, and we had no music out. I think we had one demo song online at that time. So
did you
it was
pull
very
many people come see your show?
What's that, sorry?
Did you get a big crowd at the Soundwave? I don't think I saw you guys there.
Yeah. I mean, well, we did. I mean, by default, in any case, because we played in between Rob Zombie and Avenged Sevenfold. So I mean, we played to a massive crowd, and you could kind of see people like, who is this? And they would look at us all individually and be like, well, we know him, and we know that guy, and that guy's from that band, but they're like, but who is this band,
Yeah.
So it was a very interesting situation to find ourselves in. There's very few bands would be thrown into that position, but I mean, that was our first tour, man, to be asked to play Soundwave for our very first shows. It was amazing. But, this time around is going to be killer because, obviously now we've got 2 full albums. People know who the band is. People are familiar with the music. So, it's just going to be awesome.
Sweet as. Are Devolve still going as well? It says on Wikipedia they are, but I guess you'd be pretty busy with 2 bands at the moment. Yeah,
I mean, Devolved is I started the band. I'll always do the band. I can just do it when I want, how I want. So for me, it's, it's almost more of a hobby now in my spare time, but unfortunately, I very rarely get any spare time, and I can't imagine there's going to be any coming up anytime real soon. I would love to have had another record done this year. I very much doubt if that is going to happen. I mean, I'm always working on ideas and some new stuff, but realistically, I can't imagine we'd be able to get in the studio and actually get a record finished and done before any time early next year. So we'll see, but I'll always do it, man. It's just one of those things I'll always do, and it's fun for me, and I love it. But Devil, is very much the priority these days.
Oh, for sure. We've been doing a section on our website. We're just getting people from bands to recommend, the 5 probably most important albums that got you into playing music. So if you're looking back, what were some of the albums that got you into playing drums?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously when I first heard Metallica, that was huge for me. Yeah. I know most people, would say that. Fear Factory, absolutely. like an album like Demanufacture that completely changed. I mean, that was the most important, because when I heard, all the double kick syncopation stuff, with the guitars all locked in together, I mean, that became the whole formula for Devolved as well. I mean, it was basically a total rip-off of that formula.
Yeah.
So, that was huge. Bands like Sepultura, just that era of bands. But definitely. I mean, even Machine Head, their first record, that was just monstrous for me as far as the thrash element of the drumming, but just the groove on it and the production of it sounded amazing as well. Yeah. But if I had to pick one and tell you one, Demanufacture was the one that just blew me away, and I probably was most influenced by.
Yeah, and Fear Factory also one of my favourite bands as far as drum-wise. How long did it take you before, like when you first started playing drums, how long did it take you before you could, play Fear Factory songs? Because they're pretty technical, sort of advanced songs. Did it take you a while to get to that level?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, dude, I grew up in country Queensland in a tiny town. There was no one here to teach me anything like that. I mean, I literally learned drums just from putting the headphones on and just trying to work out what each drum was and, how just to try and play along with things. But it was probably when I heard things like Fear Factory and, those heavier kind of bands where I began to take it seriously and decided that's how I want to play. That's what I want to do. And not long after that, I was playing in some cover bands and that at the Gold Coast, but it was not heavy like that. But then I decided, well, that's what I want to do, and started Devolved. And, I mean, it, very quickly became super heavy and technical. So, I guess it didn't take that long, but once I made the conscious decision that that's how I want to play, then I kind of had an aim, I had something to work towards.
Oh, for sure. I'll just ask you one more question. Have you got any plans to do a tour with Devil You Know in Australia anytime soon?
Well, obviously Soundwave will be here in January, but I mean, next year at some point I would love to make it back and do our own run of shows or do, a more extensive tour.
Okay,
here.
So you already confirmed the Soundwave?
Yeah, we just got confirmed for it a few days ago. So we're definitely here. Which will be awesome, we're all super excited and stoked for that. But that's only 3 shows, obviously. So hopefully, at some point next year, man, given the chance, we'll definitely come back and do a full run of our own gigs, and that'll be awesome. I mean, obviously I love touring Australia. I love being out here and hanging out. So any chance, man, we'll do it.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'll make sure I definitely come see you guys this time, and be up the front, head back, and it'll be great.
Right on, man. Yeah, come say good day and hang out, dude. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no worries. I'll post you up a link with the interview and whatnot, and have a good day with all your interviews and stuff.
Excellent, mate. I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for the chat.
Cheers, bro. Bye.
All right, dude. Okay, mate. All right, bye.